You are listening to the Keep the Weight Off podcast with Dr. Angela
and Marshall,
episode number 127.
Welcome to the Keep the Weight Off podcast, where we bust all the dieting myths and discover not just how to lose weight, but more importantly, how to keep it off. We go way beyond the food, and we use science and psychology to give you strategies that work. And now your host, Dr. Angela Zechmann.
All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome to today's podcast. We're so excited to be here with you today. You know, I am fresh off vacation week where I got to spend an entire week traveling around the Pacific Northwest with two of my very best friends from high school. And we had an amazing time. Like, we've been friends for over 40 years now. It's just really remarkable. And we did a whole bunch of traveling. And so I'm kind of like right now in that situation where you need a vacation from your vacation. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that sounds amazing. That's a really, really special relationship because I'm thinking like, how many people are friends with people they knew since they were young? Those are really, really special friendships. I think that's great.
Really, yeah. And so, you know, it was a great vacation and I'm needing a vacation from my vacation, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So I love it. How are you doing, Marshall?
Well, I had a really good time while you were on vacation because I took the opportunity to do some family reunioning, I guess you would
wonderful.
say. So with both sides of my family, with my husband Rich's side and my side, and it was such an awesome time. We did go hiking as well.
You did?
So, yeah, and I don't hike that often.
Yeah.
So, or I just haven't gotten the chance. I love hiking. I just haven't gotten the chance for a while. So we went up to Staircase and it was beautiful. We got to show them, you know, the Pacific Northwest and all its beauty. And they just adored it. So, yeah, so it was just a really good time.
So for those of our listeners who aren't from Washington State or who aren't like hikers, Staircase is like this really, really beautiful hike out in the Olympic mountain range. And it's not terribly strenuous. It's just a gorgeous hike near a river. And I've got all kinds of stories I could tell you about Staircase, but it's really, really beautiful. And it just gives you a good sense of the beauty of the Pacific Northwest. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you had a good time. I had a good time, and now we're back to talk
we're
with
all
you.
refreshed. Yeah. All right. Well, so now we're getting to the middle of August, and so for our listeners, I just want to put a little bug in your ear. So many of you are on vacations like we were, and enjoying the summer fun like we were. But as we start coming back from our excursions, I want you all to be looking into September. September is a great time to be thinking about sort of refocusing on your weight loss efforts. Things definitely get wonky during the summer. They do for all of us when we're on vacations, when the kids are out of school, all of that. But once Labor Day is over and school's back in session, things kind of settle back into a routine for people. And this is the time that is traditionally a restart time for people. It's almost like New Year's. It's really cool. So I want you to know that I'm going to be doing a 4-day belly buster challenge right after Labor Day. So that's something to consider joining us in. So keep your eye on your email. We're going to talk about belly fat and how to get rid of belly fat, and keep your eye on your email and keep your eye in the Sugar and Flour Busters Facebook group because I'll be sending out a registration link in a couple of weeks. Okay? So something to look forward to as you're getting restarted again.
I got to say, I love the 4-day belly buster challenge because it's like, it doesn't sound overwhelming. You know, I feel like it can do anything for 4 days, you know, and it's just like, I love the word challenge. So whenever you bring it up, I don't know, it always gets me like really excited. Like, okay, I can do this. You know, I'm going to get back into the swing of things. So,
exactly.
I love when you do it.
I give people little assignments. They're nothing that takes any huge amount of time, but you post your assignments in, and then I give daily prizes. And we just have a really good time. I love it. So, all right. Well, let's get talking about what our topic is today. So I want us all to be asking ourselves some questions about doubt. So doubt is something that can really get in the way of our weight loss journey. So our doubts will keep us stuck. We never really get our feet off the ground if we're full of doubt. And so this is something that I want us all to be thinking about very, very carefully. So today what we're going to do is we're going to explore the common doubts that many people face when it comes to losing weight. And we're going to understand why they can be such significant barriers to our success. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah. Let's talk about it.
All right. So doubts can manifest in various ways, and they often stem from a combination of factors. One of the most common doubts that people face is the fear of failure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is huge for so many people, especially if they've tried all the diets in the past and then they gained all their weight back. So we have this tendency to wonder, like, how's this going to be any different? Am I doing enough? How will I keep this off? And we worry that despite our best efforts, we won't be able to achieve our weight loss goals. And then guess how all of this thinking makes us feel?
I mean, for me, because I have definitely been here, it just makes me feel defeated before I even get started. I mean, that word doubt should be a 4-letter word we're not allowed to use because it just keeps us from doing anything before we even try. So
yeah. So think about it. So if you feel defeated because you're thinking you're not doing enough, or we're telling ourselves we're never going to be successful, what do we do when we feel defeated?
We do nothing.
Right. Yeah. We do nothing, right? We just are like, oh, I guess I can't do this. And then I can tell you from my experience that I just get frustrated. So I get frustrated when I have these kinds of thoughts and I just give up. There's like this resignation. I'm never going to be able to figure this out. Why bother? Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why I always say the weight loss journey done well is a journey of profound personal evolution, because you have to learn how you think. You have to get to the root of your thinking patterns. You want to pay very close attention to these sabotaging thinking patterns. They're old patterns, they're old thoughts, and they're sort of baked into our psyche, and we have to go in and examine them and ferret them out and reprogram them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just wanted to back up really quick because
sure.
So when you say, the weight loss journey done well, so if I just want everybody to realize that she didn't say weight loss journey done perfect.
Good point.
Yeah. So,
good point.
So that's really, really important because I think that a lot of us, when we doubt ourselves, it's because if I can't do it perfect, then I'm not going to be able to do it at all. Yep. And it's not done perfect. This is a journey. No. So that word done well is really important in that in that concept.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for pointing that out. I really appreciate that, Marshall.
Right.
So
it took me a while to learn that.
Yeah.
That's why it's
the
important
weight loss
to me.
Journey done well, but not perfectly. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, something I want to mention, there are different parts of our brain that are coming into play here. So there's the prefrontal cortex. I've talked about that a lot in the podcast. This is our evolved human brain. It has all of these ideas about who we want to be and what our future is going to look like. And then there's our primitive brain, which I've also talked a lot about, that's interested in our immediate survival and is looking for things that will bring pleasure and avoid pain and make it easy. That's how we survive. Nothing wrong with either parts of these brains. They're perfect as they are. But then there's also our habit brain, which I haven't talked about that much. And its job is to take anything that we're doing that could be put on autopilot so that we can conserve energy. That's what it does. Okay? So many of these old thoughts, so for example, I'm not doing enough, or I'll never be successful at this, these thoughts of doubt, they're all baked into the habit brain, and we've thought them so many times that the neural pathways are very, very, very strong. So I like to compare it to a highway going like 90 miles an hour, very fast thoughts. They come easily and rapidly, and they're super easy to think. And then you hear me say, well, we've got to shift this. Like, yeah, okay, you're thinking, okay, I'll shift this. And I'll remember that I can figure this out. Like, here's new thoughts, right? New thought patterns. I can figure this out. I can lose the weight. What I'm doing is enough. New thoughts, right? But those new thoughts are like a tiny little path in a wheat field. They're not well worn yet. They're just getting their neural pathways started. So it's not going to be so easy to remember them yet. So it takes time and repetition before they're going to become 90-mile-an-hour highways too. Does that make sense? So for a very long time, these old thoughts of doubt are going to be the first thoughts you think every day. So just expect that and then correct it. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, I do know this. I know that it gets easier. But I mean, just being able to recognize, what is what makes it a lot easier. If you know that, hey, man, that's my primitive brain talking and I don't need to listen to it because it just wants me to be safe. It just makes it a lot easier when your primitive brain is talking. Yeah. And when you're, and it just does take practice. It does get easier, I promise.
Yes. It does take a lot of practice.
It does, yeah.
Because these thoughts seem so true, too. That's the other thing.
They do, because they come so easily.
They come really easily and they feel really true. Mm-hmm. And so you want to just recognize that they don't have to be true. Okay. Okay, let's talk about another common doubt is fear of the unknown.
Oh, yeah. That one gets me.
So despite all the diets that we've been on in the past, the weight loss journey can actually feel sort of unfamiliar territory, right? And all this uncertainty can be pretty overwhelming. So we're asking ourselves, do I really have what it takes? Do I know enough? Do I have enough willpower? Do I have enough time to do what needs to be done? Can I really overcome this drive for sugar and flour? Is all of this really possible? So this thought, maybe I don't have what it takes. How does that thought feel?
Yeah, I have had all these thoughts and they've kept me from doing anything. Yeah. So it just brings me back to like a really darker time in my life when I was really stuck. And it's just, if I would have known, which I know now, that it's just my primitive brain like trying to keep me safe. It's not true.
Yeah. So when you have these thoughts, how do you feel?
I feel overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed. Okay.
Yeah. Like it's too much.
Then when you feel overwhelmed, what do?
I eat. To be
exactly.
honest. To be honest.
Exactly.
That's what happens. Right. And then I start craving stuff. Because then I want that dopamine hit to make me feel better because my brain is feeling bad. So yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
So you think about the thought creates the feeling causes you to behave in certain ways. So the thought, maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe this is too much. You feel overwhelmed and then you eat. Mm-hmm. So again, when we have this fear of the unknown, it's so important to pay attention. We want to pay really, really close attention to what we're saying to ourselves, our self-talk. What do we say to ourselves day in and day out? Are we being cheerleaders to ourselves and telling ourselves, hey, I can figure this out as I go? Or are we getting frustrated or overwhelmed and quitting before we ever really even get started? Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. You definitely have to question those negative thoughts because they'll just keep you stunted where you don't do anything.
Yeah. Another source of doubt can come from comparing ourselves to other people.
Oh God, that one hits hard for me.
So many people do this, and we hear it all day, every day. People will come in and they'll say, oh, my friend is losing weight so much faster than I am, or my husband is really like the weight's just dropping off of him, and they wonder if they're doing something wrong, and then they start to doubt their process, right? Yep. And so everyone is going to have a very unique weight loss journey. We always really discover a lot of the roots of this in the Empowered Weight Loss membership. So even identical sisters, we have a set of identical sisters in our practice. They have the exact same genetics and they have very different weight loss journeys. So it doesn't, even having the same genetics does not mean that you're going to have the same type of weight loss journey. So please don't ever compare your journey with anyone else's journey. Everybody is different and everybody has unique factors that they're working with in terms of their own journeys.
This is true. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So remember, if you're having doubts, don't beat yourself up about it. Doubt is a natural human emotion, and it can serve as a protective mechanism. So it's coming from the primitive brain that wants to caution us against potential risks. So anytime we decide to change anything about ourselves, our primitive brain is going to flood us with thoughts of doubt. This is so that we're not going to take the risk of change, because as far as our primitive brain is concerned, any risk could be deadly. So keep that in mind when your brain floods you with doubt. It's actually normal, but it can become irrational and paralyzing, and we need to watch out for that. Have you ever heard of analysis paralysis? Have you heard that term before, Marshall?
No, I haven't.
This is when people become so filled with irrational doubt that instead of taking action, they'll endlessly research whatever the latest diet trend might be, or they're constantly seeking reassurance, and ultimately they become paralyzed and can't make progress.
Oh, okay. So this sounds like just being stuck in just in like this cycle of thinking and thinking and thinking, and then you're never taking action, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So there's a psychological term called self-efficacy, which is the belief in our ability to achieve our goals. When we doubt ourselves, we tend to self-sabotage and avoid the situations that will challenge us. And this is not good when we're trying to break old habits and learn new things.
God, our brain, I was thinking our brains are jerks. But so it's so much about the brain and just not about eating. It's like,
Yeah, it is.
Much about thinking and not about eating. So, I mean, that sounds really hard.
It is.
So how do we like get out of that cycle of doubt and like get confidence when you're stuck like that? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah. So here's the first thing you do. You want to examine your thoughts. So I kind of hinted at this before, but you really want to be examining what your thinking patterns are. Try to catch yourself in doubt. Okay? So recognize, first of all, it's normal. It's not a problem unless we don't correct it. So instead of focusing on potential failure, you're going to correct this. You're going to think about, what are the things that I can learn in my weight loss journey? Begin to view potential setbacks as opportunities for growth. Remember that the past does not predict the future, okay, unless you let it. And here's something I really want you to understand. Your potential is always greater than your past. Okay, I'm going to say that again because it's so important. Your potential is much bigger than your past. And so you begin to think these thoughts instead. Doubt is normal. I don't have to listen to doubtful thoughts. My potential is always greater than my past. And then you build resilience and you stay committed to your goals. Does that make sense?
That's so awesome. I love those words.
Yeah.
That was great. So then I guess, then it's not about like getting rid of doubt altogether.
No.
But it's just recognizing and then changing the way that we think, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So doubts are always going to be there. You want to expect them, but you want to learn to manage them. So you're going to use them as like stepping stones rather than barriers. Okay. So then you learn how you think, and then you correct the way you're thinking, overcome the doubt, and then you find success in your weight loss journey that way. It really does begin with your thoughts. Everything begins with your thoughts.
It is so true. Yeah. It is so true.
Always remember that if you want help with this, we're always here for you in Empowered Weight Loss, and you're welcome to join us. You just go to journeybeyondweightloss.com/yes. One of the fun things that we're doing this month is we're reading an awesome and enlightening book called Chasing Cupcakes by Elizabeth Benton. It's great. It's a lot of brilliant mindset work, and we're taking a deep dive into this book, and we're doing a book study. And there's a lot more in Empowered Weight Loss too. Like I've got I've got 6 months worth of a curriculum that I take you through. So just go to journeybeyondweightloss.com/yes if you're interested, and you can learn all about it and get signed up. So anything else, Marshall? Do you have anything else to add?
No, nope, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me. I think this is a great topic.
Yeah, it is. Because doubt just can really stop you in your tracks. So
it just kind of, I guess I do have like one more thing to say, because it just kind of reminds me like when some of like our, when our brand new patients come in and, and they're kind of like a deer in the headlights, they don't know what to expect. Is this going to be different? All of those thoughts, right? But they made it to us, which is huge. And so then, when they don't really know how to go about starting, like if I see that, they're becoming a little overwhelmed, I always tell them, about like the 5-day sugar and flour detox menu. I'm like, it's just written here. I'm like, don't think about it. Just do it. That's always what I just tell them. Like, just don't think about it, because you'll think yourself out of it. Just do it. And and it's just, it just reminds me of this topic, because it's just so true. Because if you just start to think, you can think your way right out of things. So
exactly.
So I'm really glad that we talked about this.
Yeah. So for our listeners, just remember, doubt is a natural thing that's going to happen. Okay. Anytime you start something new, you're going to have some doubts. So the idea here isn't to try to suppress the doubt. The idea is to understand why it's there and address it and correct it. In this way, we can pave the way for a more confident and a more fulfilling weight loss experience. Okay? So that's all for this week. We will see you all next week. Have a great week, everyone, and enjoy the last tales of summer.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hey, if you really want to lose weight and keep it off for good, your next step is to sign up for Dr. Angela's free weight loss course, where you're going to learn everything you need to get started on your weight loss journey the right way. Just head over to journeybeyondweightloss.com/free course to sign up. Also, it would be awesome if you could take a few moments and write a review on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you in Journey Beyond Weight Loss.